Good morning. It's the Call Flow Radio Show, and you're on the air.
Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday to you. I hope you've had a good week and looking forward to what, for most of you, will be a nice 3-day weekend. As mentioned earlier, do have a special guest with me for the first part of the program. We started last month, third Fridays of... Right? Third Friday? Am I right? No, second Friday. Third is next week. It's hard to keep track of time when you're always ahead of yourself. Second Friday of the month, County Administrator Douglas Stanley. Doug comes in and we talk about what went on the meeting earlier in the week. How are you this morning, Doug?
Good morning, Chris. Doing great.
Good. Glad to have you back with us. Of course, we're going to talk about what happened during the meeting and some things going on that you should know about, and then we will open it up in case you have calls, questions for Doug while he's here before we move on and do the rest of our goodies on the show. So the meeting Tuesday night.
The meeting Tuesday night, January 11th. It's our first meeting of the year, which means it's organizational meeting. So with that, you have the election of the chair and vice chair.
Right.
And for the 2023 year, Lou Gillum. Lou owns and operates Mid-Atlantic Irrigation.
Yeah.
Lou will be our chairman this year.
Okay.
And our vice chair will be Miss Patty Cooper Jones.
Okay.
Patty, who has been chair before and no stranger to the board. So we've got our leadership structure in place for the year. As part of the organizational meeting, we also kind of go through and we adopt our bylaws for the board. They establish the public hearing procedures and also the committee assignments. The board has a number of standing committees.
Right.
So the Finance Committee, Properties Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, Personnel Committee, Audit Committee, and our Public Safety Committee. All those committees are established by the incoming chair with a chair for each committee. And we also have some ad hoc committees. We have a school building committee, which includes Mr. Gillum and Dr. Odessa Pride, and a school traffic committee. And our new board member, Harrison Jones. Harrison, whose district includes the schools of Mount Zion. We're going to be taking a look in the next month or two at some of the issues in the morning with traffic. That's one of the things you certainly see on Facebook and you hear about. And actually, as a parent of a high schooler at Prince Edward County High School, I get to experience it every morning as well. So we're going to be taking a look, sitting down with school board folks, with VDOT, trying to take a look at some of the issues. We actually had our drone up earlier this week flying during the whole bus run, watching the traffic patterns and flow. So we'll be trying to come up with some recommendations. You can try to spend a lot of money, but hopefully there's some things we can do without a whole lot of investment that can kind of tweak the flow to make it a little more efficient for our parents.
Well, now, not having kids, so I'm not involved in that morning run. I'm here and never see it. I know, of course, here at Prince Edward, there was that road at the light down from Lowe's, and that was put in to help. Have you seen a difference with that?
This morning I used it going in, coming to the high school. The high school sits at the back of Zion Hill, and I can avoid the middle school and elementary school traffic by going Granite Falls Boulevard. So it does help. I personally think it could be utilized more, and I think that's one of the things we'll be talking about.
Well, that's why I wondered. I don't see but so much traffic. I wonder if people just have to get used to it or even realize, hey, this is faster if I'm going here as opposed to here.
And I think, ultimately we're able to share some of the information and stuff, and certainly on social media, we can help promote that.
Awesome. Sounds good. Now, I guess one of the things, go ahead and bring it up because some people may have already seen it this morning. The Herald had a thing about the splitting up of the taxes, and the county's not quite ready for that. So that's probably in the forefront of people's minds.
It is, and some of the newer members of the board have certainly asked them about it. Some of our current members, the concept of going to twice-a-year billing. Basically, instead of getting one tax bill every October that's due on December 5th, that you would get a bill that's due June 5th for the first half of the year and a bill December 5th the second half. And part of that, the background behind that is it's better cash flow for a locality, being able to spread that out, but also you don't get that big bill right at Christmas time.
Right.
And I think our board members are very understanding of that issue. Part of that process is that you have to have, by April, you have to have your bills and everything ready to go out. We were late this year, and we've vowed to make sure next year we're not late getting our bills out. That's one of the reasons we had to extend our penalty and interest deadline to January 5th. So we're going to work, I think. I've done this before in the locality. I've worked and I've been able to make the transition relatively smoothly. I think we can do it, but we've got to get our house in order first.
Right. You got to have the foundation in place.
Right. And I think it's a priority of the board, and hopefully in the coming years we'll be able to implement that and make it happen.
I as a citizen, I don't live in Prince Edward. I live in Buckingham, but it's split in Buckingham, and you can pay the whole thing in that mid if you want to, and most times it's what I do. But it is convenient rather than having one massive bill. I am curious, and as you're someone in the position, maybe you can answer this question because it's one I've always wondered, and I'm sure there's a fiscal or structural reason. Why is the tax bill due just before Christmas?
It's in theory. Well, in theory, you're paying for the tax year.
Right.
So you're paying kind of in arrears for that calendar tax year. So like last year was 2022. So they're not making you kind of pay ahead. You're paying in arrears. So the Code of Virginia sometimes can be very archaic.
Yeah.
That's the way the code was always originally structured.
Okay.
It says in the code payments are due on the 5th day of December.
So that's why.
But over the years, some counties have gone in and they've changed the code to allow to be able to split the bills and pay them earlier. So it's I get the reasoning.
So the basis
make sense.
It makes sense. Yeah.
It's time to look at a change.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can. I know for the citizens, speaking as someone who gets to do that in my county, it does relieve a lot of burden sometimes.
Well, and I think the other thing too is that first bill comes around the time when you might get your refund from the federal taxes, so that may help.
Makes it a little bit easier on the pocketbook and the. Well, that's good. That's good. I was always curious about it. I was like, why? There's got to be – I know there's a reason. They don't just say, hey, we're going to screw up your holiday. We're going there's a reason why these things are done. Of course, I mean, as you said, that being the first of the month, there's never usually a lot of heavy things because it's the setup time. That stuff comes later.
We did have some other stuff. Our audit, typically either December or January, we have our audit presentation. Robinson, Farmer, and Cox out of Charlottesville is our third-party auditor. The good news is the board received a clean audit.
Good.
No material weaknesses or changes. One of the things, every locality in Virginia has to get audited annually. And as part of that process, it's certifying to the state and to the people, say we've sold bonds to, that the county is in good financial standing, which we are. Our fund balance has grown over the last couple of years. We're in a lot better financial shape even than 2 years ago when I came on board. So I think the stewardship of the board is proving out, and we're making good financial decisions, which the ultimate answer is it's going to allow us to reinvest back into the community like we had this year with some of the improvements on the courthouse lawn. But in the coming years, we've got a number of projects that will be coming up, and hopefully that'll give us some flexibility.
And there's one particular that's some very good news we'll talk about in a sec. See if we've got a question for you here. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Christian.
How are you, Mr. Amos?
Sort of upset. Ain't nothing unusual. But anyway, I've been going to Dr. Stone for years. And, and he was my family doctor.
Yeah, and he's taken a position in the intensive care.
But the thing of it is, he didn't notify me or nothing. I murdered medicine, and I got to wait till July before I can get an appointment with another doctor.
So you didn't get? Because he was mine, and I got a notification.
Well, I didn't get nothing.
Yeah, and well, I mean, all I can tell you is you saw. I assume already you've called the medical center.
No, I haven't, not yet.
Yeah, call over there, because if you're in needs of meds, there should at least be someone who can pull your file and get that over to the pharmacy for you, so you don't have to wait.
I'll call the medical center. Who does that now?
The medical center where Dr. Stone's office was there in town.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, call over there and tell the nurse, say, hey, look, I was a Dr. Stone patient. I need a refill. Someone's got to refill this for me. Now I'm out of my meds.
Yeah,
and they'll
'cause
do
I
it for you.
can't sleep.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't sleep if I don't take it, you know.
Yeah. No, call over there because they'll do it for you. They'll take care of it.
Okay, I figured you'd know what to do.
Well, I try.
Well, I know it.
All right.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, Miss Damage, keep me posted.
Right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right. He'll be able to get that taken care of through them. Kind of back on track here, you mentioned different things, and you had briefly mentioned before one of the really good things that came out of this meeting was approval for a nice big chance at some money.
We've been this community has been working on the Sandy River Reservoir project really for 50 years. It started back in late 60s, early 70s with the concept and eventual construction of the Sandy River Reservoir. There were some bonds back in the 80s. It got filled in the early 90s. And it's always been contemplated as a future water source for this community. Whether it's a backup, say, for the town. You had severe drought issues in the early 2000s. More recently, it's really been looked at as the future of Prince Edward County. I mean, having 8 million gallons of water a day to help with recruiting economic development is the envy would be the envy of many counties in Virginia.
Oh yeah.
The Prince Edward's been working for the last year and a half or so with the Department of General Services to extend water to Western Nottoway to serve the state facilities, the Nottoway Prison, Behavioral Health, and the Piedmont Geriatric Hospital, along with the town of Burkeville and potentially Crew.
Okay.
The board authorized me Tuesday night to put an application in. It doesn't commit us yet, but put an application in with the Virginia Resource Authority for up to $55 million in bonds to help construct that facility. A good portion of the debt service would be repaid with sales to those state facilities, and that's part and parcel. With the sale would be to have a contract in hand with the state. We have an MOU saying this is where we're headed.
Okay.
They want to buy water from us, and the final step will be able to put a contract in place for us to do that. So over the next 3 years, the hope is for us to be able to sell bonds and construct the facilities, construct the pipeline down to Western Nottoway. And so it's an exciting time to be in Prince Edward and finally see this project again, which has its the seeds were planted 50 years ago, to finally see it bear fruit. Yeah,
I mean, especially at that level. I mean, that's fantastic that we could get the bonds up to that amount, and then state, because the state's they're going to
pay the bills. They're going to
pay the bill. Yeah, you're going to get it. So that's fantastic. Anything? And like I said, I know there's only so many things with that first meeting. Yeah, we had we have a number of community partners in Prince Edward, and what we try to do on a monthly basis is to invite them in to share their story, talk about what they're doing. This month we had Crossroads come in, and she's still new. Dr. Melba Moore, who's the executive director, came in, and her and one of her staff members talked about the current mental health crisis, and particularly the impact on a local emergency room here at Central Southside, and talked about some of the things they're working on ultimately to help reduce the, our sheriff's deputies spend a lot of time at the hospital because we bring folks in that need psych help. And if there's not a bed space available somewhere at a hospital, then we end up with this kind of a temporary order to keep them and hold them in the hospital for up to 72 hours. So we're having to staff it and be there with them. So it's a burden on law enforcement. It's a burden on our local emergency services when our ambulance folks when they're bringing folks in. So we appreciate Crossroads and everything they're trying to do to help reduce that impact and come up with some long-term solutions to the problem. That would be great. I mean, you hear so many times, and thankfully we don't have a mental health issue so much as where it's violence. But you hear things that happen, violent attack or something like, and it always seems to stem from this individual has some kind of mental illness problem. There was no bed available, no kind of services to help them or whatever. So it's great to see Crossroads wanting to get more involved.
And at the same time, you see, I know in the Governor Youngkin's proposed budget, he's talked about prioritizing mental health. So it's great to see that, see the money come. Is backing that up. A couple other things. we did receive a $50,000 grant as the governor's AFID program. It's really agricultural and forestal investment fund that helps finance improvements to facilities that help the agricultural community. And we got the grant for the cannery. We got a grant last year to help replace the boiler, but this $50,000 grant will help us replace and upgrade old and worn out equipment and piping and valves and things at the cannery to keep it operational. Not only do our residents use the cannery for home canning, but we work for Virginia Food Works, and they have a number of commercial entities from across the state that come in. They'll come in and spend a couple days and make, pepper jelly or hot sauce and different products and package it, and that's what they're selling it all across the state and all across the eastern seaboard. So it's great to see us get the funds to help us support our ag community.
Yeah.
We had emergency management update. If you remember, around Christmas, we had a significant power outage that impacted significant portions of the community. We had opened a warming shelter during that Friday before Christmas, Christmas Eve. And when we do that, our DSS comes out. They man staff the shelter.
Gotcha.
And our emergency management folks are out there as well. But it was good. It was a good practice. And we did have a couple people that showed up at the shelter, and we helped with. And we ended up putting some up overnight. Rather than having an overnight shelter, we made sure they had accommodations. But we really appreciate the folks, the linemen at Dominion and Southside Electric that are out there working at 10 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour winds to try to restore power. And the last big thing I want to mention for the meeting specifically was the board transferred $4,800 that had been earmarked for Madeline's House, which is our local domestic violence shelter. They have gone under, and STEPS is working to step up and fill that void in our community. So we were reappropriating our funding for FY 22-23 to STEPS to help them with that opportunity.
Okay. Well, glad that there was someone able to step in. That's a needed resource and a good one. All right, let's see if we got a question here for you, Doug. Morning, you're on the air.
Kristen.
Yeah.
My daughter called yesterday, and they said they couldn't refill it because it was a narcotic.
I mean, there's got to be something that some medical professional at the medical center or the hospital can do. I mean, if this is a med that you've taken, that you're on, that you need.
I've been on it 15 years.
Yeah, there's got to be something. My next step, if it was me, Mr. Amos, if I was calling the medical center and I wasn't getting the help I needed, I'd call the hospital directly. That would be my next step. And there's got to be.
Call the business office or what?
That main number. What is? It used to be so close to the old flow number. I think it's 88. What is it? 8,000. Oh.
Well, I got to go to Dr. Higgins' office this morning.
All right.
He's a heart doctor.
Then tell him there.
I got to get my blood checked. I don't know that he'll be there. But I was thinking about getting a nurse to call him. Yeah, well,
and you can call the main hospital too. That's 392-8811.
8811.
And tell them, it'll be at the front desk who answers, but tell them the circumstances. Tell them you called the medical center and this is what you were told. But you need, you're out and you need to get your meds. You can't wait months for this,
Right.
Yeah, I know they'll be able to help you. It's just getting to the right person.
Yeah, 6 months before I can see a doctor.
Yeah, but getting your meds should be different from that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, call that main office number and explain to them and see if they can help you. And if not, when you go to the heart, even there, say something because they may be able to put you in touch with somebody.
Yeah, this is a heck of a note. I mean, I didn't get no notice whatsoever.
That's strange, too, because I know I did, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it could have been missed somehow.
The mail sometime
Well, with everything going out to Richmond and all now, you never know. But try that and see if that helps, or if you can get somebody that way.
Okay, appreciate it, Chris.
Sure thing. Good luck.
Right. Bye.
Bye. All right. Hopefully we can help Mr. Amos out there. So do want to open the lines while Doug is here in case you have a question for him, whether it be about the meeting earlier this week or maybe just something else you are wondering as far as things going with the county. 434-394-0924 is the number to call. So we'll give you a few minutes here in case you have anything.
One other big project we're working on, just got bids in this week, but we're working on upgrading the county's convenience sites. That's where residents out in the county take their trash.
Right.
And the board, last year in our capital improvement plan, we've identified, hey, we're going to go take them one at a time and try to revamp, upgrade the sites. And the Rice site, right there off Aspen Hill, right there off 460, is going to be our first site. And we're hopeful later this spring we'll be able to start construction on that. It'll be a complete and total renovation, expanding it a little bit, paving it with dirt and gravel now. Yeah. New fencing, new lighting, better traffic flow, an actual, really paved commercial entrance off of the road. But so we're excited about that.
Yeah, that's good.
We got some news in the last week that we've been working on Mary Branch. Mary Branch is was the African American school before Moton, out there on your left, and in dire need of upgrades. We're trying to work with the town and the Mary Branch Foundation, the group that actually owns the building, to look at grant opportunities to try to renovate that building. And last week, Chelsea White, who's our Economic Development and Tourism Director, Chelsea and I went down to Richmond to support a grant application by Sekou Abdusabor, who's working with it's Five Pillars Meats. It's a project he's got to build a meat processing facility out at the industrial park. Right. And we were able to receive $75,000 in Tobacco Commission funding, which will match $100,000 from the governor's AFID program to help get that project off the ground and get it started. So we're excited potentially this year that we would have a local source of meat, because they're going to have a front counter. It'll be USDA certified. So local producers, whether it's beef or pork, sheep and goats, people could have the animals processed. It could be sold locally, sold to supermarkets, sold to stuff at places in the region. Yeah. But we'll have a front counter that folks could walk into and purchase meat, source it locally.
That'll be fantastic. Yeah. Now, that's, of course, the industrial park over there.
Right behind Lowe's?
That's in the county.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the extension office. That's what I was thinking is over there. That's fantastic. Yeah, I know we touched on that a little bit last month, that it was a possible thing, but now to know that you've gotten the grant money for it, that's great.
Yeah, I think it's just going to help make it more financially feasible. Yeah. And he's already received private financing for the project, so this should help get it off the ground and get it moving forward.
Awesome. I have to definitely look forward to that. I'm guessing that we have pretty much answered anybody's questions since nobody's in here. Doug, I'm glad that we're able to do this every month. I think it's really adds to the information. So many people, they either get trickle information coming out of the meetings, or they don't get to hear anything, and they don't have time to go with their work schedule. So I think this is really great to help inform people, let them know what's going on, give them the insight of, hey, your officials aren't just sitting here; they are getting things done. And look, here it is. So I think it's great.
And I think for us, for the board, transparency is important, and getting the word out is important about what's going on. A lot's happening behind the scenes, and so any opportunity, any outlet like this that we can utilize to get the good word out about what's going on, and also interact with our public and see what the concerns and stuff are, is a good opportunity.
And we'll remind people that too. I mean, anytime, and we've got this set that it's always going to be the second Friday. Doug will be here to talk about these things. So think about it. If you've got questions or just concerns, it doesn't necessarily have to be a question, something you just want to make sure that the county knows, or something you would like them to look at, you can always make sure to give us a call on that second Friday while he's here, and he'll take it back there to the board with him. Doug, thanks again, man. Enjoy your holiday weekend. For
That's
some people, get it? Oh, let's see. We got a call coming in, so we'll take it just in case before Doug goes. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I didn't catch the very, very beginning of the show, and Doug is the manager?
County administrator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do have a question in reference to, and I'm not even sure if you can answer it. I guess it would be called sediment control. Do you have an agency that is involved in sediment control?
Yes, sir.
It'd be like permits and blah, blah.
We do issue erosion and sediment control permits. We review plans on larger projects, and we also do inspections. And potentially, if there's a violation, we do the enforcement action as well.
Oh, so my question would be, there's, I guess, logging around in the areas. And they come out on the streets and just seems like a half a mile each way that's just trashed with mud.
We do
Would
get
sediment control do that as well?
Unfortunately, logging is one of those activities that's exempted from local control. However, if you call my office, 392-8837, and log in some complaints, we work with VDOT to get those cleaned up, and VDOT will deal directly with the loggers.
Now,
okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought there was something, maybe it's a state thing, that like if it's real muddy or whatever, and they make them, they're supposed to clear the road.
They are.
Okay,
they are.
I thought so.
Yeah, but it's
whether or not
at
they
the
do
end of the
it.
day, it's not the county that has to go after them.
Right.
VDOT will go after them.
VDOT.
To get that cleaned up.
Okay, but this
okay.
way you could let the county know, and they will contact VDOT on your behalf.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds great.
So there you
Heck
go.
yes.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have one comment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been quite a bit of logging around Sandy Reservoir. I guess clearing, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
And, well, sir?
No, I was going to say a lot of that. Yeah, we had some
Is
private
with the-
property in the vicinity of the reservoir that was been logged in the last, I'd say, 12 to 15 months.
Okay.
Yes, and since that has started, that place has gotten really muddy, and the fishing has, I guess, greatly deteriorated. Is there, well, I guess it's too late to do anything, but is there plans set in place so that there is erosion control?
Again, logging operations and the
Okay.
E&S stuff are maintained by the Department of Forestry for the state. Localities
all right.
don't have the authority. Prince Edward County actually owns a 50-foot buffer around Sandy River.
Okay.
So property owners cannot log right up into the water. So we do maintain that buffer, but certainly you could be a half a mile away and log 1,000 acres and potentially discharge sediment into Sandy and the Sandy River and the Appomattox. And,
Right, and the county really doesn't have any control when it comes to
unfortunately,
that.
you don't have control.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things down the road, if we do develop it as a water source, you can look at trying to put in additional regulations. But again, we're talking about private property and regulations, and sometimes citizens will push back against that. But I think that's one of the things that ultimately we may have to look at if we do invest significant funds into the development of water sources, make sure we protect that.
Yeah, especially if you're going to invest. We're talking potential
Tens of millions of
$55 million.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
All right.
Well, I do thank you, sir.
all right. Thanks for your call.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right, so there you go. Some more information as far as that goes, and maybe you had wondered, not just Sandy River. I'll say that again. Sandy River Reservoir, but also just as far as logging in general and other erosion control potential. So good question there. Awesome. Doug, thanks again. Again, if anything comes up that you want us to get out there, you just let me know. Otherwise, enjoy, and I'll see you next month.
All right.
All righty. We have got to move on here. It is 8:37, so we've got goodies to do. First up, a look at the weather. It's brought to you by the Bank of Charlotte County.
Hello, I'm Stuart Wilborn, manager of the Bank of Charlotte County Loan Office in downtown Farmville. I invite you to call or come by and see me about your loan needs. Whether it's time to purchase investment property, build your dream house, expand your business, or purchase timberland or farmland, you will find old-school personal assistance with attention to detail. Stop by our office at 216 North Main Street or call us at 391-1136. The Bank of Charlotte County, giving you more for your banking needs. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Well, let's see. Today, mostly sunny. We're looking for highs in the mid-50s. Now, tonight, mostly cloudy. Lows will be right around 30 degrees. Little north winds, 5 to 8 miles an hour. Tomorrow, sunny. Highs in the mid-40s. North winds are back 5 to 13. Gusts as high as 22 miles an hour possible. Saturday night, clear. Lows right around 20 degrees. Sunny on Sunday, highs near 50 degrees. Sunday night will be clear, lows in the mid-20s. Then for your Martin Luther King Day on Monday, sunny, highs in the low 50s. Mostly cloudy Monday night, lows in the mid-30s. Right now, humidity's dropped down to 79%. Barometer still relatively steady, 29.69 inches. No wind to speak of at the moment. We are getting bluer and bluer skies out there. Temperature-wise, 45 degrees here outside of the Flow Studios. And your weather this time brought to you by the Bank of Charlotte County. That includes branch locations in Phoenix, Charlotte Courthouse, Keysville, Brookneal, and that loan office right here in downtown Farmville. All right, you know what's next.
Howdy doody time.
Close. It's birthday and anniversary calendar time. Of course, your birthday anniversary calendar brought to you this time around by Terry Atkins Wilson PC. And to give you your list of birthdays, not just for today, but for the weekend, we got a slew of them. It's Howdy Doody himself, John Staten.
Hey, it's Friday the 13th. I haven't heard mention of that yet.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah. It was the 13th. See, it's just another day to us in radio.
Not to me, it's not. It's a reason to play sound effects.
Not that
I really need a reason for that.
There's always a reason for something.
Important business here.
That's
birthdays.
right. Birthdays.
For today, the 13th. Here we go. Frankie Tote of
Frankie,
Farmville.
happy birthday, Frank.
Robert Saunders Jr.,
Gravy.
affectionately known as Gravy.
Gravy, great guy. Great guy.
Daniel Puckett.
Daniel, happy birthday, man.
And those are for today. For the 14th, Harold Colvin, Mary Demi of Farmville, Margaret Cole of Farmville, Everly Rain King, Ben Simmons. They're all for the 14th.
Oh, okay.
15th, Linda Sauve,
Linda.
Sam Thomas McCam, Tanner John David Parks, William H. Motley, John Breitenbach.
Well, it's a heck of a list of birthdays. Well, that's good we had that many. And we think we've got an anniversary, too.
Do.
We'll give you that right after this.
The law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, is located at 117 North Main Street in downtown Farmville. With deep roots in Farmville and our surrounding communities, Terry and her legal staff specialize in real estate law, wills and trusts, business formations, and collections. Experience and professionalism are extended to every customer in every case. The needs and concerns of every customer are their primary focus. If you have legal needs, contact the law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, for a consultation at 434-392-1422.
All right. I know we got anniversary in there.
Here we go. Sterling and Edna Noblin.
Sterling and Edna Noblin. Congratulations. Happy anniversary to you, and happy birthday to everybody that we know celebrating. As a matter of fact, happy birthday whether we know it or not. What the heck? Let's spread the love. We wish you a fantastic day. Remember, if you want to get those names on the birthday and anniversary calendar, all you have to do is email them to birthdays@wflo.net, or you can mail them. That, of course, is 217 West 3rd Street, Suite 2, Farmville, 23901. Your birthday and anniversary calendar at this time brought to you by Terry Atkins Wilson. For the right legal advice, visit Terry. They are on Main Street here in Farmville. All right, where are we at? We've got about 16 minutes here left to go. If you want to give us a call, 434-394-0924. Well, ready for a look at some history, John?
Sure.
All right, we'll go back and start in 1733. James Oglethorpe, love that name, Oglethorpe, and some 120 colonists arrived at Charleston, South Carolina, en route where they would settle in present-day Georgia. 1794, President Washington approves a measure to add 2 stars and 2 stripes to our flag. That was for Vermont and Kentucky.
Toot sweet.
Yep, as they were admitted to the Union. Of course, that would be dropped back and reduced back to the original 13, which is what we think of. So for a while there, we actually had a 15-star flag.
Cool.
Yeah, kind of cool. 1898, Emile Zola's famous defense of Captain Alfred Dreyfus, J'accuse, was published, of course, in Paris. That's exactly what it was. 1941, new law goes into effect granting Puerto Ricans birthright citizenship. On the same day, novelist and poet James Joyce would die at his home in Zurich just less than a month before he turned 59 years old. Also, 1964, Roman Catholic Bishop Karol Wojtyła, who would become Pope John Paul II. He was appointed Archbishop of Krakow, Poland. 1982, Air Florida 737 crashed into Washington, D.C.'s 14th Street Bridge and then fell into the Potomac trying to take off during a snowstorm. I remember that.
And they died of Potomac poisoning.
78 people did.
Yeah.
Yep. Including 4 motorists on the bridge, 4 passengers, and a flight attendant would survive. Almost everybody was killed. Speaking of that, it was in 87 West German police arrested Mohammed Hamidi, suspected of the 85 hijacking of a TWA jet and the killing of a U.S. Navy diver who was on board. He was convicted and sentenced to life, eventually paroled in 2005, and Germany would escort him home to Lebanon. 1990, Doug Wilder, of course, the first elected black governor, take his oath of office here in Richmond as our former governor. 2000, Microsoft chairman Bill Gates stepped aside as the CEO and promoted then-President Steve Ballmer into the position as head of Microsoft. And in 2001, an earthquake estimated by the U.S. Geological Survey at a magnitude of 7.7 struck El Salvador, killing just over 840 people. So there's the look at your history today. Let's see. Morning, you're on the air. No, they didn't stay with us.
Not anymore, they're not.
They didn't stay. They didn't stay and wait for it to finish that. That's okay. Of course, the big news, I'm sure everyone's heard by now, Lisa Marie Presley.
Yeah.
Yep. Passed away. Of course, Elvis's only child.
Yeah. 54, I think.
54, yeah. She was hospitalized for a medical emergency. They're saying it was cardiac.
Okay, yeah. Was it yesterday evening? I heard 2 news reports talking about how Priscilla had her rush to the hospital.
Yeah.
And immediately I thought, no, that doesn't sound good.
No, because they apparently, early on they rushed her, and they initially said everything was okay, and then apparently there was another attack, and there it goes.
That's a shame.
So, of course, released her own rock album. It wasn't until the 2000s.
Well, she ended up having a family, I think, a little bit sooner than...
Married 4 times.
Well, there's that, too.
Yeah.
And so she had to put her career on hold.
Yep, and she did for the family.
Yep.
Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. This is Beetle Bailey again.
Hey.
How are y'all doing?
Just good. How are you, Bill?
Doing well. I have in front of me, and I'm addressing the previous caller and Mr. Stanley, a Virginia Forest Best Management Practice Field Guide. And on page 50, starting at page 57, it has log landings, how to harvest and bring logs to the road, and log landing construction, a diagram on 59, and then check fittings and hoses, and it says when you, and I've addressed this with VDOT, and VDOT has pretty much the same content with the diagram and everything, and the reason I did it was because at 30 miles an hour going by Wellwater Road over here in Buckingham, I'm in a slide. I'm in 6 inches of mud and sliding, and hence I started looking into it. And both the best management practices for the forestry and VDOT say you must immediately remove all sediment and foreign material placed on the highway.
Right.
Immediately. And one issue up on St. Andrews, they brought in one of those brisk brushes, rotary brisk brushes thing, and they ran it up and down the road once, and then they put it back on a truck and took it away. So it was a futile attempt to appease, and the road was still, as VDOT calls it, stained.
Right.
And it's absurd. You have to have in your landing area, which is where you load the logs, area where you can clean the mud and stuff out of the truck wheels, and then go on to a graveled area where it says you have to have number 1 and number 3 cross the culvert and turn onto the highway.
Yeah.
Well, see, nobody wants to bring a generator and a water pressure gun because that costs money, and you got to hire somebody to do it, to clean the trailers off. So it's better to sling the mud on the road and let the citizenry deal with it.
Well, all you can do is you can call VDOT directly, of course, because they're the ones who are responsible for issuing the fines on that. Or your county administrator, and have the county administrator contact VDOT directly about the case. But that's what you're going to have to. I mean, if people don't actually say anything, or they're angry about it but don't do anything, then the logging companies are going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, logging is it's kind of like the Wild West. You do what you want. Nobody says anything because you're related to them, or you're a part of a truck driver, a tree cutter, something like that.
Well, that's all it can suggest. If they're making that much of a mess where you are and not really doing their job, call VDOT.
Right. I have, and got very, very little response on that.
Well, keep call them every day.
Get your friends to call.
That's right.
I know, Chris. I know.
I mean,
thank you so much. I think the county needs to be aware of that.
Yeah. Well, then that you said you're in Buckingham, right? Though.
That's correct.
Yeah. So maybe Buckingham County's paying attention, but that would be the other thing to do. Call VDOT. If you're not getting anywhere there, then start calling the county administrator. Call your board of supervisor and say, hey, you got a job to do here. Get going.
Things are muddy.
And we don't just mean the politics. Well, best of luck with it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, contact the right people and say something.
Yep.
That's the problem with so many things.
This society is the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
You got it.
Yeah.
You can complain, but if you don't complain to the right people, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So in any case, we were talking about Lisa Marie before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the other, I don't get this guy. He always seems to keep getting in trouble. Is Ezra Miller, the one who was the Flash?
Not in so much trouble because, unlike Henry Cavill, he still gets to be the Flash in the movies for the DC universe.
Yeah, not enough that they're doing it. I mean,
for Warner Brothers.
Well, the latest is a plea agreement that he reached to avoid jail time. Pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge of trespassing in a Vermont home last spring. He was supposed to go, was due in court this morning for a plea hearing. He received suspended jail sentence and placed on probation for a year, had to pay the fine, pled not guilty.
Right.
This was a neighbor's home, apparently. He went in and took booze. But it's just a string of arrests. It's like you kind of got to wonder.
Well, the best thing to do is just not do anything and just let this guy keep on keeping on. That's usually the best way to handle these.
He's had this great career ahead of him, and he's doing all this crazy stuff. You got to wonder what's going on with you.
You don't get reprimanded for any of it, and then you just kind of keep on, don't you?
Well, that's usually what happens. If
kind of learn that when you're a kid, you know. If nobody gets after you, you kind of just act like you want to.
Well, and the next time you do a little bit worse.
Yeah.
You know, it just continues to snowball.
It's a thing called common sense that's long been outlawed and banished from our society.
Common sense? What is that? Nobody knows what that is. Never heard of that anymore.
Can't say that on the air.
Common sense. Are you crazy? Crazy. Hey, celebrity birthday. Richard Mall. Remember from Night Court?
Night Court.
Bull from Night Court. And, of course, he done
Have you
movies
bothered
and
to
stuff.
watch that lame version that they brought back? Or
Has it aired?
I don't know.
It's
on one of those services, so I don't get it.
No, I had heard that they were going to bring Night Court back.
It says it is NBC.
Yeah, if they've still got the production rights. No, I heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
He's 80 today.
80, wow.
Richard Mall turned 80 today. I still remember him in House, the movie. Remember with William Catt from The Greatest American Hero?
Okay, it sounds familiar.
It's a comedy, horror. It was a fun.
He was in some other stuff, that I knew him from.
Oh yeah, always usually played big tough guy or whatever. Totally different from what he played on Night Court. But yeah, congrats to him. Who else we got here? Julia Louis-Dreyfus, birthday today, 62. Yep, very talented, beautiful one. Elaine, everything except the dance. Miss Bennis. Who else? Penelope Ann Miller, actress. She's 59 today.
All right.
Actor Patrick Dempsey turns 57.
Can't buy me love.
Yeah, man. Shonda Rhimes, TV producer and writer. She's had several hit shows hit the air. She's 53 today.
Okay.
Actor Orlando Bloom.
Know the name.
Was in the Lord of the Rings films and the Pirate of the Caribbean movie. He's 46.
Okay.
Today. Who else here? Ginger Z, the meteorologist on Good Morning America. She's 42.
I wouldn't pick her out of a lineup. I don't know who that is.
42.
Okay.
Who else here? Liam Hemsworth.
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's 33 today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's some celebrity folks that we know are celebrating. Oh, I missed country singer people know, Trace Atkins.
Yep.
61 today. He's got a birthday as well. So we wish him the best.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, too, for today, your quote-unquote national days, holidays, I got dessert covered. It's National Peach Melba Day. So there's your dessert for the day. It's also National Korean American Day to celebrate our Korean American folks, immigrants. National Sticker Day. So hopefully the teachers were prepared. Be able to put stickers all over the kids' work. It's the day to we honor Stephen Foster. It's Stephen Foster Memorial Day.
Stephen Stinkin' Foster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Camp Down Races. All those very original classic American tunes. A lot of people will be happy with this. National Blame Someone Else Day. Not my fault. I didn't do it.
That's a holiday celebrated every day. Yeah?
Pretty much, at least among siblings. And my favorite reason for the 13th of January, it's National Rubber Ducky Day.
Rubber Ducky.
You're the one. Yep, National Rubber Ducky. It was a hit. People seem to forget.
We've talked about it before. What the public deems to be entertainment is interesting.
Rubber Ducky. Back in 1973.
There you go.
Of course, was when Ernie would record his single of Rubber Ducky.
Rubber Ducky.
Be a huge hit. Anyway, it was in 1970 that the first episode of Ernie's Rubber Ducky would debut But the song would come out on January the 13th, and there you go. I got some interesting rubber duck things for you here.
Oh, goody.
So the first rubber duck was manufactured in the late 1800s.
Wow.
And it wasn't just a rubber duck. They were all different animal shapes. But
That's the only one that caught on, I guess.
that's the one that caught on, and it was 1928 that the first patent for what we know as what we see today as rubber ducks was patented. Sketch and everything is sitting in the patent office. During the wars, both I and II, rubber was so valuable that's when they were mandatory. They had to be made out of plastic anymore. But the original rubber ducks were rubber.
Oh.
Yep.
I didn't know they were no longer made out of rubber.
No, they're vinyl, and some are still plastic.
I couldn't
but
tell
most
you the
are
last
vinyl
time I
now.
actually saw one.
1940s, they went all plastic.
Okay.
And yeah, of course,
Plastic ducky doesn't roll off the tongue.
not the same.
Yeah.
The iconic yellow rubber ducky that we know today actually soared in 2001. It was the biggest year of rubber ducky sales ever. Why?
Yeah.
It was reported in The Sun, the British tabloid paper, that Queen Elizabeth II had a rubber duck with a little crown on its head that she bathed with. And the people went nuts and went out and bought rubber ducks more than any other year since they've existed.
Once again, the public and what entertains them
I'll tell
is
you what.
interesting at best.
But I mean, at that point, rubber ducks had been around for over 100 years.
Yeah.
Yet 2001 was the year more were sold than ever before because of the former queen.
There you go.
Yep. Of course, the rubber duck is in the Toy Hall of Fame. Was inducted in 2013 with 52 other toys initially. The Toy Hall of Fame is pretty cool. It started in 98, and every year new toys are put in. Of the stuff you'd expect, Barbie, G.I. Joe, whatnot, are all in there. And real quick, speaking of Barbie, before we go,
The movie?
new Barbie's coming out. They're larger than the traditional Barbie.
You mean their body or just the size?
The whole size of the whole Barbie. They're designed for younger kids. They're developing a Barbie for kids as young as 3 years old. It's going to hit the market soon. So get ready, parents. It's coming your way. And
Chris
also,
has got his tickets for the Margot Robbie movie, by the way.
well, only if she actually dresses like Barbie.
WFLO AM 870 Farmville.